Hello everybody, I'm Oksana Mikheieva. Currently I work at European University Berlin. My academic exchange supported by DAD, German Academic Exchange Services, and I'm happy to have this opportunity because as for me it's very important to be here, to be in European University Berlin, because the European University Berlin has a big emphasis on Ukrainian studies, and it's a very good space for starting this conversation between Ukrainian and German researcher, and discuss many very important questions which are need to be solved, which need to be discussed in the current situation. Let me say several words about my research interest. I came in here from Ukrainian Catholic University, and it's a part of my personal history because originally I'm from Donetsk, and after the starting of Russian aggression against Ukraine, I became a forced migrant and come from Donetsk to Lviv. And in Lviv, I created a new sociological program in Ukrainian Catholic University, and from this moment in my life starting maybe a new stage in my scholar's biography. We start to do many projects which are connected with the situation in the east part of Ukraine, in occupied territories. And from 2014, I initiated and be a part on many different type of projects which are focused on different group of Ukrainian society which are affected of the war. It is very important for me to be a voice of these people, to talk about this issue which we faced during the wartime in Ukraine. And as a result of our research, we collected more than 400 in-depth interviews with people who could talk about their experience, how to live in the war condition, how to be internally displaced person, etc. And as a result, I prepare a very interesting text because I was involved in for me, very interesting project, which are initiated by Mikheieva. Why it's so interesting? Because in this case, the 20 authors write a contemporary history of Ukraine, and I write the text about national identity. And the main idea of this project, they create a situation when the scholars from Ukraine and scholars from United States collaborate and work under the one text. In my case, I work with well-known scholars, Oksana, American scholars Oksana, and as a result, we have a very interesting text about Ukrainian identity, which based on my interviews with people who are try to re-understand your identity in the case of extremal situation, in the case of these very specific processes of social disasters, of social catastrophe in society. And I think it's very important to try to find this answer to the question who we are and who are Ukrainians now. And many people ask themselves about this, who we are. And we try to find the answer to this question in our text, and I hope it helps us to talk about Ukrainian identity, to talk about the belonging issue in Ukrainian society, not only of the level of understanding how people create their identity, but on the level of research language, how to talk about Ukrainian identity. Because when we write this text, we faced with a very big problem how to talk, how to choose the correct terms which are describe the Ukrainian identity. For example, when Ukrainians use the term Ukrainians, what they mean. We never know for sure what they mean. It's belonging to the state or it's belonging to the ethnic group. Our research focus on forced migration pushed us to start thinking about the migration at all. And we realized several projects which were supported by Greek Catholic Church. We started in Paris and collected an interview and conducted a survey with Ukrainian migrants, which belong to the fourth wave of Ukrainian migrants, which started after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Then our next country was Poland, and we collected 3,500 interviews with Ukrainians who currently live in Poland, live and work in Poland. And we conduct a 60 in-depth interview, and it gives us the understanding how people live. We talk about their process of adaptation, their integration in Polish society, about their civil activity, and it's give us the opportunity to understand the Ukrainians in other countries, not only in Ukraine, how Ukrainians live in other countries. After Poland, we come to United States, and here we talk not only with the representatives of first wave of Ukrainian migrants, but we talk with people who represent all waves of Ukrainian migrants in the United States. And it's very interesting because in this case we start talking not only about the first wave of migrants, but at all about Ukrainian diaspora. It's very important, and these data give us the opportunity to re-understand Ukrainians not only in the country but abroad too. It's very important because in this case we start thinking about our country from the internal and external point of view, which are very important for understanding who we are, for finding this answer to the question who we are, and what we mean when we talk about themselves like Ukrainians. And I think it's very important to have such type of research here in Germany, because in this case we will have this different case of Ukrainians who are living abroad, and we receive the opportunity to compile this information and to create a whole picture of life of Ukrainian migrants abroad. It gives us the opportunity to create a new level of conversation on the international level between different countries, because Ukrainians now in other countries, it's not only the labor migrants, but it's migrants which want to have their own scenario of self-realization, and they become a very important part of many societies all around the world. And I think it's very important to talk about this problem. And here, during my work in Berlin University, I have this opportunity because I have very interesting audience. In this audience, we can see the students from Germany, the students from all post-Soviet space, and it's create a very good space for collaboration, for discussion about very important aspect of our collaboration, of our difficulties in understanding each other. And in several days I planned to come to Ukraine with my students from Freie Universität. I planned to come in 3 cities. It will be Kyiv, Mariupol and Odessa. And it is a very important way how to create a real understanding, not only at the theoretical level, but in practical way. When we come to the country, when we start talking with people, when we meet with real people in the country, we come back with a new knowledge about this country, and it pushes us to create a new level of conversation about our past and about our present.